So just to give you guys an update on what's going on, again, no, I don't have everybody tied up in a basement and demanding all the attention be on me. What happened was, as it is for you and your agency, this time of year where things kind of slowed down, we kind of caught in between seasons, though on the last several episodes of Cafe, we said you can't slow down. A million other things going on. But we're kind of getting into the holiday seasons. Things slow down. People start getting the reply on their emails to let's circle back after the new year. And so what we thought was a good idea, and I still stand by this, was our building needs a little bit of love, tender love, and care because it houses all of me and my work family. And so they're currently outside. They, as in these people, I think they look professionals. They're wearing vests. One has a clipboard. So I'm assuming they're supposed to be here. They're doing some work right now on the building and on the foundation, which is fantastic. However, that does mean that it's very, very noisy and very, very loud. And it makes it very difficult to continue to help agents and work and do all the right things. So everybody's at home today except for me, because every single time that I try to do Medicare Cafe from my office, it goes awry and it goes bad. And so I said, absolutely not. So I said, everybody stay home except for Alex. I literally said, don't worry about it, guys. I'll handle it by myself. Alex, you got to be there, though. So thank you, Alex, for coming and dealing with the, yay! And dealing with the chaos that is just like construction. Hi, Sadie. And so, again, as you know, that is my real cell phone number. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, threats, or promises, please either text me, let me know, or, of course, there's always, if you do have a YouTube account, there is always the live chat feature as well. Both are great. Both are fantastic. But since I'm by myself today, maybe throw me a bone and talk to me a little bit because, yes, MVP. Yeah, thank you. Tell me what the people say because sometimes I can't see it. So, Alex, if you can, that'd be cool too. Clapping. Okay, and I'm also going to turn on the texting machine. Okay. So, guys, today's cafe, because I do promise. Earthquake, actually. So today, guys, I'm going to keep this really brief, really simple. It's been a long time since I've done a cafe by myself. I don't love it. So this is going to be brief. It's going to be good. Hey, Queen. It's going to be brief. It's going to be good. What I wanted to talk about today is what, during this time, we were all making jokes about, what's it look like to build your foundation? We're currently doing it actually literally here in Gray Oak Drive, but what does it look like to actually build your strongest year yet? What's your best year yet? And so what I wanted to do is help you find questions and answer questions that are really going to develop your foundation of growth in 2026. Now, I will say everybody's going to hold me accountable. That was actually Chaynlin's idea, who also couldn't be here today because Chaynlin's this is the jokes write themselves. This is foundation work, just like we're doing in the office. I have a list of questions that I really think you need to take some time before the holiday season to answer for yourself before January 1st, 2026. Okay, so here's my list of questions. I would like to hear from you guys. Again, either text me your answers, put them in the chat. Would just like to hear from you guys about how you guys feel like you're going to answer these questions. Some of them seem like I know, duh, but some of them you should spend a little bit more time thinking, a little bit more time contemplating on. Thank you, Brian. I really appreciate your support. First of all, first question you need to ask yourself in 2026, are you in growth mode? Now, a lot of people's default answer to that is, yeah, of course I'm in growth mode. But I want you to actually stop and thinking about it, because the only way that you're going to grow in 2026 is my favorite saying ever. You're going to have to get uncomfortable. Growth only happens when you are uncomfortable. So if you're thinking that, you know what, I've done this for a lot, I don't know what CMS is doing, I'm wanting to maybe look at other careers, other opportunities, just interested in that, I don't really want to invest what I need to invest in my agency in 2026. Are you in growth mode? If you are not, if you're somebody that's just you know what, I've made what I want to make, I'm going to live off renewals, I want to really invest in other areas of my life, I'm not really interested in growing my agency, then I'm going to tell you guys, it's probably time to look at an exit plan. And I don't mean that to be harsh. I don't mean to be rough. It's not like get up or get out. But it is kind of in this industry. Our industry changes so much. It changes rapidly. If you're not heavily invested in this industry, you are actually going to do more harm than good for your clients because you're not staying up to date on what's going on. We're seeing massive disruption, massive change. If you aren't growth minded, that's okay. No one's calling you a bad person to your face. What you need to do, no, I'm just kidding. What you need to do though is really look at that. If you're not willing to invest, if you're not wanting to grow, you need to be looking at an exit strategy. Is that selling your agency? Is that having somebody come in? If that's, taking your agency from yourself, maybe passing it down to a kid. If this was your legacy and you wanted to you're trying to get somebody else into your space, whether that's a generational thing or whatever the case may be, that's fine. But if you're not growing, then you need to look at getting out. And that's kind of a hard truth. That's kind of a hard one to start out at. The second question, the next question you need to ask yourself is, what does growth look like for you? And that's hard. If you are somebody who's like, no, I'm in this industry, I'm growing it, I'm in it to win it, then it's really start to actually like putting pen to paper and writing down what does growth look like for you. Is it more lives to your book of business and you're wanting to gain clients? Is it you want to gain more revenue per client? Do you want to grow the size of your office? Do you want to grow your staff? Do you want to grow downline? So just saying like, I want to grow, that's not good enough anymore. You really need to kind of map out. And again, I'm always somebody who's like, tell me make your plans and give a chance for God to laugh at it because you don't know what's going to happen. But you have to have at least a structure of what direction you want to go. If you just say, I want growth, that's not specific enough. You're not going to see the growth that you could. So really map out, what does growth look like for you? Now, some people can call that goal setting. I don't call goal setting and growth mapping the same because growth mapping is something that you should have a plan for. You should be disappointed if you don't hit it, right? That isn't a goal. That is an expectation that you should hit if you do everything you need to do to accomplish that growth map. A goal is different to me. A goal is something that like you probably shouldn't hit all of your goals. Your goals should be so big, so lofty. It's not a check mark. Your goal should make you uncomfortable. Like, what would it even look like if I do hit that? So your goal is not an expectation to hit, right? Your goal is something that's like this big idea that's like, it would be wild if I hit that goal. Growth mapping is, no, if you do what you set your mind to, it should be something that should be attained. You should be a little disappointed if you don't hit that versus the goal. The other thing, whenever we're looking at growth types, one thing I would really, especially agents who are kind of starting out in this, like, I've got it, I've got myself, I've grown my agency, I had the best AEP in my life. How am I going to do that again? How am I going to do more? So it's really start to kind of look at if you want to add downline or if you want to add administrative staff, there is a huge difference. I don't necessarily have a ton of time to go into the difference today. We've done a ton of videos on it. Our university has the exact video, admin versus downline, and kind of mindset between the two of those. But really time to look at, hey, your biggest resource is your most limited resource, and that is your time. That is the most important. It is the most limited. You can't duplicate yourself. So do you duplicate your systems and processes? Yes, always. Or do you get somebody to help you do the non-sales stuff? Or do you just create more salesmen? There's pros and cons to all of them. This is the year you really need to have those conversations. And it might surprise you. It might surprise you what's the way you need to go. A lot of people think growth and they think downlines, and it actually takes them way backwards. So just understand admin versus downline. Ask us questions on that. I have a ton of content. I just don't have time to go into it today. One question I really love, we've been asking this a ton, is what are you going to try new in 2026? Good morning. What are you going to try new in 2026? Okay. Again, if you aren't uncomfortable, if you're not changing, if you're not evolving, then you're not growing. You will not be able to treat 2026 like you did 2025 and expect to see exponential growth. I think most of us, I can speak for everybody, agents this year, a lot of us, not all of us, and again, I'm talking to a portion of us, we have a heck of a head start going into 2026. A lot of us, and the reason for that was the incredible AEP that we had. Now, even for a lot of us that's saying like, well, I didn't really get to grow my book of business this year. I spent so much time replacing because I had a ton of clients on this plan. It exited, so now we did this plan. So again, but we saw so much activity. Even if your book of business didn't grow, you just retained this AEP. There's so much opportunity and disruption, people talking about it. So there's a huge opportunity to see the biggest growth you've ever seen throughout 2026. but you can't market, you can't sell, you can't do it the same way that you did in 25. Furthermore, I'm going to build on this. This is another question you're going to ask yourself, a thing that you might have to do different in 2026. How are you replacing some of your commissions? I imagine a lot of us, myself included, got hit very hard with the lack of prescription drug plan commissions. And we talked about all AEP about how commissions went off, didn't pay that much anyways. But PDP being the least of your worries, that adds up. A lot of people are going to lose a substantial amount of money in 2026 for commissions that they are not getting anymore. You can't do what you did in 2025 to go into 2026. So how are you replacing your commissions? That's a question you need to answer today. And I would actually do the math. Look how much money it's so hard to replace renewals because it is passive income. As long as you keep your certifications and your licensing up to date, it's passive income. That's so much harder to replace than just getting new lives. I totally understand that. You're starting the year in a deficit, a lot of us. So have a really strong plan on how are you going to replace your PDP income. There's a lot of ways to do it. Obviously, you're going to roll your eyes. You know exactly what I'm going to say. But cross-selling is insane. The best time to cross-sell is after everybody you helped during AEP. See them during OEP. Bring up the cancer product. Bring up the HIT product. Bring up the final expense product. Bring up the annuity product. Do all of that stuff and review their plans. It is so incredibly important that one, you remain a one-stop shop. You make sure that they know all the ways that you can help them. But two, guys, you have to replace your income. Michelle, 100%. We're having to work harder to make the same income. Now, here's my thing with cross-selling, and I agree with you, Michelle, because again, like I said, we're starting the year in a deficit. But cross-selling is so much easier than just gaining new clients because you already have their trust, you already have their information, you already have the relationship. I just found out I say already really weird. Already. Who am I? Am I Canadian? Both. I say it that way too. Both. Anyways, we are in a year where we have you already is that worse? Have the relationship. You have that. It's literally just acknowledging the risks and seeing how comfortable they are with the risk. If you are uncomfortable with cross-selling, stick with us through 2026, you guys, because my Lord, we tried some really cool things. It was a select group of agents this year to try to help them ignite and engage in cross-selling, and it was wildly successful. So this is the year for us for cross-selling. We've invested so much into it. I hope you guys are along for the ride, because if not, how are you going to make money? How do you money? You're going to have to figure out how to make more money. Okay. Another question again, and then we're going to have a couple more I think I can get into the rhythm of. In the same breath of what are you going to do differently this year? What's your marketing going to look like? What's your sales strategy going to look like? What are you going to say no to this year? That's hard. We talked about that this morning, the cafe group did, and that one's a harder sell or a harder conversation to have. What are you going to say no to this year? And then some of it's going to be things like, you know what? This isn't serving me anymore. This is something that I've always done. This is something that we've always really invested in. Maybe it's mail order leads. Maybe it's door to door. Maybe it's Facebook market leads. I don't know. What is it that the consumers are changing? What they're valuing is changing. What are you doing different? And it's what are you saying no to and having more creative thoughts behind that. Let's see. I don't know. I think I covered more of that. The one final question I'm going to ask for you guys is how are you bettering the industry in 2026? I am so excited for what we're seeing from, the conversation that Shaylin is having at Capitol Hill. That's what it's called, right? DC, Capitol Hill? White House Lane. Yeah. What conversations we're having on the legislative, on an administrative level, conversations that we're having. I am so excited. Everything, guys, just to see what the final ruling came out, just to see how agent positive a lot of these conversations are. It's tremendous. It's such a breath of fresh air. We're I think Shaylin says it best, we're kind of getting back to where we were in 2020. Kind of like we had a lot of, the last 5-6 years of just intense overlook intense, making sure that people are compliance checks, things like that. We're kind of getting back to where we were before compliance just went haywire. And it went haywire for a reason. We don't have to get into it now. But just to see all the agent-friendly verbiage out there coming from CMS and new legislation is really incredible to see. We aren't done. There's still a lot of work we have to do. A lot of people, for good reasons, are nervous about agent compensation in 2026. And I know there's a lot of questions about how do we get in front of that? How do we stop carriers from being able to just say, no, we can't pull commissions? And I think there's some stuff coming that I think a lot of states, we're seeing a lot of the DOIs coming out with rules saying, I think Indiana was one, other states are coming out and saying, we're going to put our foot down for these carriers to talk about the lowest they can pay. We're going to put some foot down. A lot of states aren't in that yet. They don't feel like it's their jurisdiction, but there is movement on it. There is exciting stuff happening. So what can we do today to better our industry? One, just having your voices heard and being really conscious about where you're putting your energy. You guys, bitching on Facebook doesn't help. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's the holidays. I'm trying not to curse, but I think this merits it. Complaining on Facebook does not, it might raise awareness and make people like, oh, I didn't know that was happening. It might do that, but like, where are you spending your energy in 2026? Is it online being a keyboard warrior, being mad at the carriers, mad at the competition, mad at legislation? That's not doing anything. You can take that same energy that you're harboring on a keyboard and invest it in being a part of associations like NAHU. This hasn't been NAHU for a while. NABIP. There's a lot of organizations out there. The Americans for Beneficiaries Choice, that's another one. Talking, and like, again, they're calling all the time for people to write letters to their representatives. Go to things like Capitol Hill. They do, like NABIP does, when they actually go and talk to the legislators and talk to the representatives. There's a lot that you can be doing, or not even that you personally can be doing. There's a lot that you could judge or like jump on board with, piggyback of what's already being done out there. This behind a keyboard, talking to social media, talking on Facebook, talking on these groups, it's not doing anything. It's just causing drama, and it's making us look crazy. Stop doing it. It's making us look like a bunch of whiny babies. Stop and actually do something about it. So that's one thing you can do, as well as just continue to help others, guys. This industry is awesome. I would love to continue to see more people come to it. All rising tides raise all ships. Be a mentor to somebody. Take somebody under your wing. Show them senior marketing specials and Medicare Cafe, because it was super helpful. So just investing in that this year as well. So it's 10:20. I appreciate you guys. Again, we will be continuing Medicare Cafe throughout the end of the year, as long as technology Alex allows. We will be continuing to do Medicare Cafe throughout the end of the year. If you have anything you want us to bring up, I would love to share some of my goals and, again, more difference between growth mapping and goal setting. I do really strongly feel those are two different things. Maybe we can talk a little bit more about that. Shoot me a text. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns, threats, or promises. I love that. Thank you, Terry. I love Terry. Good job. A guy in Arizona did 1,000 apps in 1 year. Figure I have to get more partners to do that. Absolutely. Find it. And then Brian says probably nothing helpful. Oh, he says, let's see. I'm my meaner half's goal. She hits me. Brian will do the dishes the first time. Appreciate you guys. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, threats, or promises, guys, please throw them out there. I appreciate you guys. You guys have no idea how thankful I am for you, how thankful I am for the Medicare Cafe team, how thankful I am for this industry that I get to do this and be goofy and still find a way to help a lot of agents who are helping a lot of seniors. So thank you for tuning in and allowing us to do what we do best, which is just chaos and help. And somehow they go together. Right? Like pigs in blankets. Until next time, guys, have fun.
Make money.
And give me back. Thank you, Alex. Oh, he